So this is pretty fascinating. It looks like Donald Trump is getting scared of Bernie Sanders, and I think that it's starting to set in with Donald Trump that indeed Bernie Sanders has a very good shot of winning the nomination. And as you guys know, there was a story reported that basically Donald Trump was telling his confidants that socialism won't be so easy to beat, and that's because a lot of Trump's fire really comes from Bernie Sanders' policies. That meaning, Trump is the fake populist, Bernie's the real populist, okay? So what Trump wants is a Joe Biden. He doesn't want a Bernie Sanders. And so he's been on a tear going after Bernie, okay? So he was at one of his rallies. Here's one of the comments that he makes.
Bernie Sanders, crazy Bernie, has condemned the U.S. military strike on Soleimani, the world's top terrorist. Think of it, the world's top terrorist.
So, again, the way that he speaks is very weird. The way that he speaks is very weird. It's so weird. What the fuck is that, dude? That's definitely some drug type of shit. That's not normal. But his line of, crazy Bernie, who is that really gonna land with? I mean, seriously? Crazy Bernie? Wow, dude, you really got him there. Especially when you're talking about a guy who's, slurring his speech left and right. Really, dog? You think that's gonna land? And they posted a bunch of them. Here's another one.
The Green New Deal. That's a beauty. It's amazing, though. I see this congressman that's been there. He has white hair, beautiful white hair. No, it's not you. And he's with AOC. And he's saying, yes, we have to go with the Green New Deal. And I'm saying, is this guy for real? I don't know if he believes it. He's been around for 20 years in Congress. I've seen him. I know him a little bit. And he's acting like he actually believes it. But we're going to just take our time and we're going to relax. And about 3-4, you're going to join some rallies about a month before. You're going to hear the real facts. But I'm tired of talking them out of things 10 months before the election. Bernie Sanders' health care plan would cost over $32 trillion a year. That's more money than we make in 5 years. That's more money than we'll ever make. He is indeed crazy. No, he's... Oh, let me take that back. No, it's a great plan that we have to consider strongly. We have to consider his plan strongly. Now, see, I'll tell you what the fake news will do. They'll take my last words. It's a great plan. We have to consider it strongly. They'll cut everything out in the front, and they'll say, Donald Trump is in favor of Bernie Sanders' Green New Deal.
So there's clearly something wrong with this guy mentally. He's obsessed with the, quote, fake news media, and he just goes off on these super random tangents that don't seem to be tangential in any sort of real way. And he's obviously very scared of Bernie Sanders here, okay? Obviously saying that it costs over $32 trillion is a very stupid comment because we would be saving money. Our system already costs that much money. It's just in this system, what we'll have is savings, actually. That Mercatus study said that it would be $2 trillion over 10 years. Other studies have said $12 trillion over 10 years. So there are quite a few different studies that have different numbers, but all of them have Medicare for All saving money. All that would end up happening is that private expenditures would be shifted over to public expenditures, but there would be a lot of money saved because there's a lot of overhead costs that come with private health insurance that would be removed. Administrative costs would go plummet down. We would also have drug prices go down as well as many other things that would go down in the system. So this is very ridiculous. It's very easy to see through. It's a very lame attempt at going after him that's going to get batted down so easily. If you think in a debate Donald Trump is going to be able to corner Bernie on that, oh dude, your healthcare plan is going to cost $32 trillion, and you think that Bernie Sanders isn't going to knock that shit out of the park, he is going to demolish Trump in a debate if these are the kinds of things he's going to do. And he's going to try to paint him as a crazy guy when Donald Trump tries to steal a lot of Bernie's actual positions. Voting against NAFTA and voting against the Iraq War and all of this stuff. What is Trump going to do when he comes to him? Come on now. Here's another one.
Are taking their cues from but the Democrats are taking their cues from socialists, Bernie Sanders and that group. Omar, AOC, Talib, isn't she a nice woman? Talib. Talib. Why? What a group. But they're the leaders of the party. They're really, in my opinion, the leaders. That's what happened. That's how they got into this impeachment hoax. The leaders of the party are this AOC, Talib, and Omar. And Pelosi meets them and she shakes and quivers and she's very scared.
Very weird stuff. Very weird stuff going on here. I mean, shoot, I wish that the Squad and Bernie Sanders were the leaders, but unfortunately, that's simply not the case. And that would be a dream come true if it were the case that the Squad and Bernie were the leaders. But unfortunately, that's not the case yet. They have a lot of influence, but they're not the leaders just yet. He's making that up because, in his mind, demonizing them as the leaders of the party makes them look like these... He thinks it'll make them look like crazy people. And so that's what he's trying to do. But unfortunately, that is just simply not the case. Now, this is all posted on his Trump War Room account. And if you look here, it says, Thread, Bernie Sanders is a hypocritical, wealthy, fossil fuel guzzling millionaire. He wants to lecture you on how to live your life while he does the exact opposite. So this is what happens. People, when they don't have any real policy discussions to be had, they resort to smears. If you're poor and you're talking about wealth inequality, you're just envious and you're just jealous, okay? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you're rich and you're talking about wealth inequality, well, you're a hypocrite because you're wealthy. So what that means is there's no real possible way to have these conversations. What the right wing does is they like to smear to where you never get to talk about the issues. And corporate Democrats, unfortunately, do this as well. But there's a lot of these, bogus lies that go around. When he's talking about the USMCA. This one is the dumbest. He says, Bernie Sanders rails against the wealthy, but he's a millionaire who owns 3 houses. Sanders once tweeted, how many yachts do billionaires need? How many cars do they need? How many houses does Bernie think he needs? So this is so stupid. So if you're a congressional member, you require 2 residencies because you have 2 workplaces. One of your workplaces is Washington, D.C., the other one is in your constituency base, that being Vermont. So you automatically have to have 2 residencies. I think he has a condo in D.C., and then he's got a home in Vermont. And then he has a $600K Summer Lake home or something that was inherited from Jane's parents or something like that. How is that even a big deal? Especially when people like to muddy the waters. Bernie's worth, $2 million? And Bernie Sanders is talking about people like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, who are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And so they're trying to smear so that we never talk about taxation or wealth inequality or, taxing Jeff Bezos and stuff like that. That's what they want to do. And I find it really embarrassing. And honestly, at this point, I don't even think that the right strategy, like the explanation that I just gave you of how he has these 3 houses, right? I don't even know if it's worth it to do anymore, or if it's worth it to just be like, no, fuck you, you're just smearing. You're not a serious person, and I'm not even going to take this seriously. You're talking about people who are billionaires. There's 1,000 millions in a billion, and we're talking about people with 100 billion. So it's 100 billions. Each of those billions has 1,000 millions. Okay, so 100,000 millions, which is insanity. And his point still stands. Are you kidding me? A $600,000 home makes him in the elite class? Get the fuck out of here with that bogus. Sanders attacks big corporations like Amazon. What he doesn't want you to know, Bernie hypocritically spent nearly $250,000 on Amazon Office products last year. I mean, this is the most hilarious thing of the meme where it says, you participated, yet you participate in society, curious. Super stupid, obviously. Bernie claims that climate change is a national emergency, but he loves to fly on fossil fuel-powered private jets. He plans to ferry back and forth on private jets to Washington during the impeachment trial. This is obviously a necessity for him to do. Nor is the thing about climate change is one person doing something is not going to change it, right? If I stop driving a car, that's not going to change climate change. This is something we need legislation passed, and we all need to come together as a country to do. So Bernie Sanders using a PJ, which he needs to use for obvious reasons, is not this hypocritical thing. It's a very dumb thing, obviously. And again, this is how you get to a point where it's you're just never going to talk about the issues, and that's some bogus. And the right-wing smear machine, man, the right-wing smear machine is very powerful as well. They like to just make shit up about everybody left and right, and that's why you see these nonstop smears coming from right-wingers, especially about progressives, whether it be Ilhan Omar or AOC or Bernie Sanders or whoever it may be. It's terrible. Trump campaign blitzes Bernie over email for second straight day. This is Trump, Pence, Keep America Great 2020. Dangerous! Bernie Sanders can't be trusted to defend American lies. Sanders opposed taking top terror Soleimani off the battlefield while repeating Iranian and Russian propaganda. Fact, Bernie Sanders is a wealthy, fossil fuel guzzling millionaire. Just like the wealthy Hollywood elite, Bernie Sanders lectures Americans how to live their lives while doing the exact opposite. So this is what you do when you're desperate. You know, when you're desperate, smear, 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 smear. Okay? Smear, 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 smear. You're a fake fucking populist, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to take away the biggest thing that Bernie has, which is his relatability. And it's pretty embarrassing, and what that tells me is that Donald Trump, you know, he knows the threat that Bernie Sanders is. He knows, he's aware that Bernie Sanders will take him down, and he's very worried about this. So I think he knows that Bernie Sanders is his kryptonite. He wants Joe Biden to win.